Now, it's a lot of fun to create your own designs for 3D printing, but it's also fun to find designs that someone else has created where all you have to do is 3D print it. So there are websites out there where all you have to do is download a design and put it on your printer. So for example, this fish, flexi fish here, I was able to just download it, print it, and now it's mine. Or the same with the Eiffel Tower, or even with this giant SpaceX helmet. All of these are projects I didn't have to design myself. I was just able to use them. Could I have designed them? Maybe, but it would have taken a really long time. So it's fun to just use someone else's file. So let's learn how to do that. So the first thing you want to do is open up a web browser, then go up to your address bar and type in Thingiverse.com. Now there are other websites that are very similar. Printables.com is another personal favorite of mine. There are many, many more, but Thingiverse is probably the most well-known. And if you know how to download something from Thingiverse, you'll also know how to do it at the other websites as well. So let's go there, and you'll see Thingiverse's website here. So there's lots of projects here. You can just scroll down, see if you find anything you like. You'll also see a lot of advertisements. This is a free website, so they make their money through advertisements. So there's a lot of ads on Thingiverse. But most of the time, you're probably going to have something in mind that you want to print. So you want to go up here to the search bar and look for whatever it is you might want to print. So we're going to look for a dog. So now I'm going to see a whole lot of pictures of dogs. Now these are files that someone else has created and uploaded to Thingiverse. Now some of them you can see look like they've already been painted. Others are just models that haven't even been printed out yet. People can just choose what type of photo they want to upload, so you're going to see lots and lots of different things. So I'm just going to scroll down until I find one that looks like something that I might want to print. And you can see there's multiple pages, so I can come down here and change the page. I'm going to go with this hot dog right here. So I'm going to click on the hot dog, and now I'm going to check out everything I can. Like I said, people get to choose what kind of photos they want to include. So you can see this one includes some measurements of the dog, and then I can see what it looks like on the printer itself. And there's just lots of different options. I can see all the different file types. They even have a video on here if I want to watch it. Okay, so the photos, again, each designer chooses what to put on there. So as I scroll down, I'll see this summary, and this can give you a lot of valuable information about the print before you start it. Now, each designer gets to choose what to write here, so some will give a lot of information, some won't give hardly anything, but if they give information, it can be really helpful. And it's important to read it because they might tell you something like, you need 6 specialty screws in order to make this project, so you need to know that before you start it. You don't want to get all those pieces printed out and then find out you don't have whatever you need to finish it. You also, for example, in this one, they're going to tell me version 1 is designed for single filament printers, which is what I'm going to be using, and version 2 is for multi-material printers, so I know I need to be looking for version 1. A lot of times they'll also give you the print settings they used in order to print it out. Now you don't have to have an exact copy of what they used for their resolution or infill, but it might be helpful to know in case you're having trouble printing it later. But you can use the same settings they did. But it can also be really helpful to find out, do I need supports for this project or not? Now, after I've read the details and I'm still thinking this is something I might want to make, it can be helpful to read the comments. So comments are just other users who've looked at this or tried to make this who have something to say about it. And so reading through their comments can help me know, is this a good print or not? So if there's 40 comments on there and everyone says, I tried to print this and it didn't work, then I probably don't want to be the 41st person to try to print it and find out it doesn't work. So be sure and read the comments, get an idea of if it's going to work and what other people have thought when they tried to print it. Now, one comment that says it didn't work probably is okay as long as there's some others confirming it does, but still it'll give you a good idea of if it's been successful for other people or not. You can also look here at makes and see pictures of what other people have done. So for example, this might be helpful for me because I'm going to be using a single color printer, so I can see, hey, there's somebody else that printed it with a single color printer. That's what it might look like. Okay, after I've checked the summary the comments makes, I decided, yes, this is something I do want to make. Then I want to click here on Files. Now under Files, sometimes you'll just have one file and sometimes you'll have multiple. And you need to find the file or files that you want to print. So for example, I'm using the single color printer and they told me that's going to be version 1, so that's what I'm going to download. Now, if I were using a multi-material printer, I would need to download all 4 of those so that I would have it in the different colors. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this little arrow over here for download, and that will download it to my computer. And another important thing to keep in mind here, all of these were STL files, so I forgot to mention this, but if you see files that aren't STL files, you probably don't want to download those. Sometimes people will upload a file with pictures or with an instruction guide, so you may need those later, but not to print. So look for the STL file. Now, one other thing to note, there is a button here at the top that says Download All Files. It's up here as well. Okay, Download All Files or Download All Files. You can click that, but notice when you do, it's going to download it as a zip file, and then you're going to have to make sure to go in and unzip that file. So a lot of times people forget that step and they go in and open it up in their slicing program and they don't see it, and it's because it's as a zip file. So I find it a lot easier just to go down here and download the files that I need rather than click on that Download All Files. And once you have it downloaded, you're ready to open up your slicing program. So I've opened up Bamboo Studio here. You can use a different slicing program. The buttons will be in a different place, but the process would be almost the same. So I'm going to click on Add or Import, and then I'm going to choose the project that I just downloaded and click on Open. Now that's going to open it into my onto my plate here. Now I want to check all my print settings to make sure they're correct before I print this. So first thing I want to do is come over to that left side here, and I'm going to check to make sure that I have the correct printer selected that I plan to use. So check your settings and make sure you have the printer selected that you plan to use. Make sure you have the correct nozzle selected. That's usually 0.4, so most of the time I don't need to change anything there. I do want to make sure I have the right filament selected, so there's a whole list of filaments here. I almost always use PLA, and right now I have a Polymaker Polylite filament, so that's what I'm going to select. And here I get to choose the layer height that I want to use. 0.20 is normal, it's the standard, but I can make it super fine if I need a lot of detail, but that's also going to make it take longer. I can make it more of a draft mode, which will make it print faster, but not with as much detail. But usually 0.2 is a good balance between speed and quality. Now I can check, and again, here's my layer height right here. And so now I can check, the other things that I usually need to check here are the support. So if I look here on support, I need to decide, does this project need support? Now you can see he's kind of floating here, so he's going to need something to hold that belly up as it's printing. So I'm going to choose to enable the supports. And then I can choose between tree and normal. I think I'm going to choose normal on this one. Won't matter too much either way, but I think I like the normal setting there. And at least I'll see what it looks like when I slice it. So decide if you need support. And at that point, let's go ahead and slice and see what it looks like. Now I'm going to move these out of the way for a moment so that I can see myself what it looks like. Now that was a whole lot of support, so I may want to change that to tree support and see what that looks like. Okay, I might like that a little better. Okay, so some things I want to look at here is the filament used. Okay, so it's 62 grams of filament. 52 is the model, and the other bit is for the supports. I can see what an approximate cost would be depending on the filament that I am using and the settings that are in there. I can tell the model printing time and the total printing time. The reason the total time is more is because it has some warm up in there. So it's going to take 3 hours and 22 minutes to print. Now, this is the preview screen. It shows it to me after it's sliced. If I decided I need to make some changes, I can go back here under Prepare, and I can make whatever changes I need to. So a couple of things you might want to notice here. This is the Rotate button, so if I needed to rotate my model in some way, I can use that. This is the Scale button. So it can be useful if I say, this is a little too big for what I need. Maybe it doesn't fit on my printer, or maybe I only want to use 50 grams of filament. I can click here on that Scale button and change it. Right now it's 100% size. I can say, let's make it half that size. So I'm going to go 50% of the size, and I can make it a smaller version of the hot dog. So the scale can be really useful if you need to change the size. I can also use the Lay on Face feature. So if it came in oriented in a different direction than the way I want to print it, I can click that button and then click on any face to change it. And there's some other buttons here that might be useful, but those are the primary ones that you would probably need to use. So if you made a change like I did and scaled him down, you can click Slice Plate again. And then you can see now he's only 11 grams of filament, almost 12, and that will only take 1 hour and 2 minutes to print. So if I wanted to print faster, that'd be another reason maybe to scale him down. So once I have made all the changes I need, I'm happy with the way it's sliced. It's always a good idea to scroll this down to the bottom layer and see what that first layer looks like. Make sure there's good contact with the plate and that it's not rotated in any strange way. Okay, and then I can drag that back to the top, make sure everything looks good, and I'm ready to print. So then I'll click here on Print Plate. Now this could be a little bit different for you depending on how you're printing. As long as you're printing wirelessly over your Wi-Fi connection, so you don't actually have to have the physical card from the printer, you'll just select the printer that you want to print on and then click on Send. If you're using a card, you don't have a Wi-Fi connection with your printer, you'll need to get the card from the printer, insert it into your computer, save it onto that card, and then take it back to the printer to start the print. So now all I need to do here though is click on Send, and it will send that through the cloud service to my printer and start that print.